Um, Hello, if you're watching this, my name is Jen. I'm really excited that you're here. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to share my story in a way that I've just never shared before. I've definitely shared my story before, but I've never really gone into the details the way that I am today. And I want to sort of give you a feel for why I felt the need to do this and why today. So I'll get into that, but I did want to first say, um, I absolutely love the profession of network marketing. I think it's beautiful. It's changed my life, and I'll talk more about that. But I have seen a lot of really bad behavior over the years. And I've been doing this for almost a decade now. I can't even believe it. It feels like just yesterday I got started. But in that time, I've had two very different experiences. I was in one company for almost 4 years, and then I was in a second company now, the one I'm with today, and it's been about 5 years. And those experiences have been night and day. And they always say that hindsight is 2020. And that is absolutely true for me. And I've had many aha moments over the years. But I will say this, my first experience, while it wasn't wonderful, I am very grateful for it because, of course, it taught me a lot of incredible skills that I still, use today to be successful in my business. And so I'm very grateful for that. But it also, a lot of this bad behavior that I'm going to share that I experienced, which, by the way, I don't think was intentional or meant to be hurtful, but it happened. But I think it was good in a way for me personally because it made me stronger for having gone through this. It made me realize what goes on so that I can coach others who are going through it as well. And it just made me into a better leader because now I know that I never want to be that way. And it's helped me to just grow and be a stronger leader for my team. And then for other people who I want to help to be successful in their business. Like, I don't just help people in my company, I help everybody, in any company, because that's just what fires me up. So if you are watching me for the first time, I would love for you to drop a comment. I am using StreamYard for the first time, so I can't promise you that I'm going to see your comment right now, but I promise you, if I don't see it right now, I will see it later and I will respond. And I would love to just hear from you. Like, are you in the profession of network marketing? And if so, tell me, how long have you been doing it for? And then as I go through and share the things that I've experienced, maybe you can relate to those things. And if you feel compelled, feel free to let me know in the comments, and we can bond over those things. So one thing I will mention is oh, look, I do see a comment. Corey's here. Hi, Corey. Amazing. Love this. Okay. So just so you know, I am live streaming in a couple different places. So if you're seeing me on YouTube, hi, this is my first YouTube live. So I'm really excited to introduce myself, tell my story, and share with you guys what I'm all about, my values, and what you can expect from me. And then also, if you're watching on Facebook, hello. So I want you to know I did take some notes. I wanted to really put a lot of thought behind this conversation. I just didn't want to like randomly start ranting on and on. And so I do have notes, but I want to speak mostly from my heart. So far that's been working for me. So we'll go with that. But you might see me just looking down at some notes here. So I have seen some things in this profession, like really weird stuff. And you might have seen my title, like, was I in a cult? And I wasn't joking when I put that title there. Looking back now, I do ask myself that sometimes. And I don't necessarily mean like a cult in the extreme sense of the word, but a lot of the behaviors that I experienced from, the top leader that we all looked up to as our mentor. It was weird. It was weird stuff, and it was cult like. And so I'll let you decide, okay, whether it was a cult or not. But I sort of wonder, like, it might have been. Now, I will say, I want to go back and just say, like, I do have a real deep love for this profession. So I don't ever want to come across as being negative or bashing the profession as a whole. The profession is a beautiful thing. I have experienced the most incredible growth here. It's helped me to personally grow. There's a lot of personal development that happens in network marketing, as you probably know if you're in network marketing. Or have been for any period of time, personal development is a big part of it, right? We have to grow as people, as leaders, in order to be ready for the team that we build and to help them succeed, right? We can't do that if we're not our best self. So that's been absolutely wonderful. But beyond that, it's helped me to experience a lot of freedom in my life. So I was in the corporate world and I was a sales director for a global confectionery company headquartered here in Canada, where I live. And it was a wonderful experience. I had an incredibly challenging career, a wonderful mentor there, but things started to change, and I was no longer feeling happy, and ultimately wanted more for my life. And so I ended up tripping over network marketing. That was, like I said, almost 10 years ago. The rest is history. I've been full time now in the profession since 2019. And I'm just so grateful that I'm able to work for myself and build a business that is mine and where I can make a really big impact on the world, which is a big reason why I'm here today, because I want to help to make positive change in this profession, because it's so beautiful and it's wonderful, but there's a lot that is not right. And when you deal with human beings, you deal with behaviors that sometimes are just not great. And that's what I want to shine a bright light on today, because I think if we can shine a bright light on the things that aren't good, it will help people to see that maybe they might be in a situation that I was in, similar. And if maybe you're watching this and you're one of the people who has done or is doing some of these things, and of course, this is all just opinion based. I'm not wagging a finger at you or anything, but I'm just saying maybe this is an opportunity for you to take a look and see if maybe you can do things a little bit differently. So that is my goal for today's story. So, all right, let me just check back on my notes really quickly. Okay, so one thing that I want to mention is some of the things I'm going to share in just a moment here, the specific things that I experienced that I think are really offside and very strange, and in the moment kind of looked normal, but now I'm like, that was really weird and not okay. It may sound kind of off the wall, and maybe you've experienced it, maybe you haven't, but I just want you to know that it actually is quite common. It's not a weird, crazy story. Like, this is a pretty common story. And I'd say a lot of people are either experiencing this kind of thing today or have in the past. And I just think it's so wrong. So I want to talk about it. And what spurred this conversation? Well, actually, what spurred this was somebody from my previous company. She shared a reel or a video, a short video, sharing how, she was over this hustle mentality, this culture of, grind. If you're not grinding every day, you're not good enough. And this shunning behavior that goes on, which I'll get into more in a minute, because that's what I experienced in a big way. But she shared this video and it was really eye-opening for me. And I was like really proud, not in a condescending way, but like, good for you. Like, I was just like, wow, I was really impressed that she shared this, because she was part of it for a long time. And she admitted and apologized and was like, I own my part in this. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And this is not the first person that I've heard from that's, changing the way that they're seeing things and communicating about these things. And this sort of, like, I call it like an awakening, for lack of a better word. But for me, that's what it felt like when I started to see what was really going on and questioning things and pushing back. But I'm seeing a lot of this right now. And I don't know whether it's coincidence, it's springtime, or like, we just went through a really hard many years. Hey, Rena, so good to see you. We went through a lot. And so coming out of all of that, it's like we don't want to stand for things that used to be okay before. And I think it's forcing us to think about things in a different way. I don't know. You let me know if that sounds maybe like what's going on, but things are shifting. Let's just say that. Things are shifting in a big way. And also, I will say from a numbers perspective, the network marketing profession, just like the stock market and many other things out there right now, are in decline, right? It's just kind of the way things are right now. Totally natural, but needs to be said. So I was really happy when I saw her video, and we've been chatting a little bit, and it's been really nice to connect. And while she wasn't somebody who directly, I would say, impacted me when I left that first company, she was part of the group that made me feel pretty terrible. And so I really did appreciate her addressing this, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool moment. So now you might be thinking, and if you are, I won't blame you, but you might be thinking like, John, it was 5 years ago, like freaking get over it. Right. So I hear you, but I want to tell you this. I am over it. I promise I am over it. But there's a lot of people who aren't over it, who are, maybe they've moved on and they've been hurt and they're not over it. Like, you might have heard of this whole MLM PTSD thing. It's not a joke. Like, people really go through it if they are put through a difficult shunning type behavior when they leave. And it happens a lot. It's pretty crazy. So those people are not over it. And there's a lot of people who are still in it right now. They're in this situation and maybe don't even know it. And so I'm not talking about this for me. I'm not sharing my story because I want you to know who I am, although that's I want you to know who I am and what I've been through, because, I want us to be friends. But it's about helping people see what's going on, and then for them to realize this is not okay. Okay. So that's what this is about. Now, when I went through my awakening, as I am calling it, the thing that I felt, now here's kind of what it looked like. I was with my first company for almost 4 years. I started to really get frustrated because I was doing the work. It was in sort of belly to belly in-person system. So parties, inviting people to, hey, Jenn Cooper, what's up? Inviting people to take a look at the business, doing product kind of events, that kind of thing. And I was doing all of those things, even though I didn't love doing those things because I'm an introvert and I had to be in front of strangers and speaking and doing all this stuff, which was really hard for me. But I did it because I saw what was possible on the other side of things, and I was willing to do whatever it took within reason, right? Ethically sound things, but yes, like I was willing to do a lot of uncomfortable things. And I expected, though, that after I did those things on top of working my full-time career, which was pretty hectic, I wanted the results and I wasn't getting them. And I was really, really frustrated. And so I started to question and look at things and like asking and talking openly about this stuff. And what I realized was there was nobody who wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to have this conversation. And so nobody wanted to impact their mindset. They would say things like, oh, I have to protect my mindset. Like, I can't really have this conversation. And then when I finally did leave, it was a really lonely place. So I also want people to know, and, if you've recently experienced, being pushed away and sort of shunned, just know that you're not by yourself. And for me, it would have been nice to know that there was somebody that I could sort of relate to and who would understand me. So I just want you to know that. So I had been there for about 4 years, and, I'd spent a lot of time with these people. Like, we dreamed together, we traveled together, we did everything together pretty much, and for 4 years, like, you can imagine, those friendships started to get really deep, right? We were close. And when I left, almost all of those friendships disappeared. Boom, instantly. And that was really hard. That was really hard because I was in my 30s and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, are we adults? I don't understand what's happening. But, you know, I was shunned. I decided to leave. I was shunned. I was blocked. I was deleted from all existence. But not only that, and I understand why this happened. So I will first say this. I get why people do this, because when someone leaves a network marketing company, it's not quite the same as if they were to leave like a different normal corporate job, or like if you work at, I don't know, a grocery store and you go to a different grocery store to work. It's not the same because those people aren't financially tied to you. In network marketing, they are. And there's a big fear element that comes with somebody expressing that they're going to be moving on, and sharing maybe why they're moving on or why they're excited about something new. Now, I didn't say anything when I first left. Like, I didn't say like, oh, I hate this company, or I said a lot of positive things, and I was grateful and all of that. But here's the reason why I'm moving on and why I was excited. And I was basically, they made videos about me. Some people in the previous company made videos about me. They had team meetings about me, and they basically said, you need to block her. You need to, she's a bad person. She's trying to steal your people, like all of these things, which I wasn't trying to do anything. I was trying to make a good decision for me and my family and my life. And ultimately, I started this whole thing from day one so that I could achieve my dreams. And I think that it would be crazy to continue to do something that wasn't working for me, that I could clearly see it wasn't right for me. And so I think it would be really dumb to stay in a place where that wasn't happening, right? Definition of insanity, doing the same exact thing over and over and over and expecting some different result. So I moved on, but it was pretty nasty, the stuff that happened, and a lot of made up stories happened. Like, I won't get into what some of them were, but they were pretty crazy and they just never happened. So what I will say is, hindsight is definitely 2020. And I want to say this. I think I mentioned this before. I'm going to say it again. I don't think the people who behaved in this way, and maybe some of the people who are still behaving in this way, I don't think that they do it intentionally to hurt people. I don't think they realize that there's a better way to behave. There's a more professional way that actually will give them the results that they're looking for. You know, if somebody leaves your company, instead of blocking them, telling everybody to block them, and saying bad things about them so people will think they're evil and bad and not want to look at what they're doing and potentially leave with them, instead of doing that, just wish them well, love on them, and encourage them, and just be a human being. You know, I was out for dinner with a couple of my friends last night in the business, and you know, one of them said, if you ever decide to leave, or both of you, like, nothing would change. We would still be friends. And I know that that's true. I know that that's true because she's a good human. And, but again, I don't think that people who do these things are necessarily bad people. I just think that, I will say this, generically speaking, but often there is a personality at the top who acts like somewhat of a dictator and is so engulfed in the culture and way of things that are really ingrained in sort of who they've become, and they believe it even though it's so crazy and outlandish, and they defend their behaviors and think it's okay, and then they just engulf all of these people who are within their organization, and they manipulate them through this belief and passing this on. And it's really, I blame that person at the top. And I'll say that. I don't blame the people underneath, because I will say this, I was one of them, and I did bad things too. And I am sorry for those things that I did. And again, this is about becoming better, right? Quick side story, and then I'll jump into the specifics of what happened. But quick side story is my friend Rena. So she was in my previous company. I didn't really know her, but when she left, I was told to block her because she was bad and all these things. So I did, like a good little minion. I listened and I blocked her. She's probably laughing right now. And when I started the conversation looking at my new company where I am now, part of the system is to put me in a group chat with different people so that I could hear their stories and learn the system and whatnot. And when my upline put me in a chat with Rena, I had to unblock her, which was so embarrassing. Like, I am a grown woman and I blocked this woman who I didn't even know because people told me to. It was so crazy. And I had told people on my team to do the same thing. So I was part of that. I got swept up in the bull crap. I don't know if you can swear on here. So I'll say bull crap. But I had to unblock her. And so it's a funny story now, but just I wanted to say that, like, I'm not innocent in all of this, but I see the behavior that I did and I don't want to continue to perpetuate it. And I believe in treating people with respect. And hi, Penny. So I just wanted to share that. Now, here's some of the things that I experienced. Okay, let's get into the juicy stuff. And by the way, if you have ever experienced something and you want to share it in the comments, feel free to do so. I'm all about having a real talk conversation. So let's do that. Here is what I saw and experienced. So the first thing, kind of minor, but I'm going to say it because I think it's manipulative. We were made to feel and believe that our product was the only product, the only brand that was any good, and that everything else was second class, not good enough, and we would just never buy makeup from another company or skincare from another company or nutrition products from another company. You would just never do that. And if you did, people would look at you funny. And it never happened to me, but I know that this happened to at least one person. Their purse was dumped out to see if they had another makeup brand in there. So like if there was like a MAC lipstick in that purse, that was like, oh my, what is this? Like speaking to you like you are a child and shamed. Absolutely. Penny's saying it, shamed, right? Like, what is that? That's psycho. I'm sorry, but I have favorite brands, but every now and then I'm curious. I want to try something new. That's normal. Telling people that they should only buy from their own store because everything else is bad and it's such crazy. That is insanity. And it kind of goes to the root of the problem, which is a lot of network marketing companies. I never want to say specifically who, but a lot of them have models that are not great. And the self-consumption model is a problem. It's kind of where, it's you recruit to recruit to recruit to recruit, and nobody's really trying to get a whole lot of customers. And that is a big problem. It's why the FTC requires companies now to have a certain number of real legitimate customers, because this self-consumption model is a huge problem. It's basically just it starts to look a little bit like a pyramid scheme. I'll just say that. Okay. So the next thing is this hustle mentality. Now, it used to be that if you were a hustler, you were one of the go-getters, you were one of the top percentage, and it was respected. But there's been a real shift. A lot of people are sort of anti-hustle these days, and I think that's pretty cool. I believe in hard work. Don't get me wrong. I am a hardworking person, but I don't believe in putting a business before things that are more important, like family and perhaps your faith or whatever, right? Like, your business should be a vehicle to help you live your best life and to spend more time doing the things you love with the people you love, not the other way around. And this hustle mentality kind of comes hand in hand with like proving your worth. And I know that's how I was made to feel, where if I didn't show up to every single thing, it would leave the impression and you would be sort of shamed for not being committed enough. And I think that's really wrong. And so, the way we do things here, and thanks to Rena, who's incredible at building culture and doing things the right way, but it's family first, family over everything. Your health comes first, your mental health, your physical health, your well-being, your family, your happiness, that all comes first, always, over business. And I think that's really cool. So I'll leave it at that. And then the other thing was this elitist vibe. So I don't know if you've ever felt this, but if you weren't at this certain level, and I experienced this myself, and a lot of it was I don't know that they necessarily did anything specific to make me feel this, but I felt it very strongly. And so maybe it was just me, but I think a lot of people felt this, where it was like this elite club. And if you weren't at that rank of VP or higher, you were not part of this club. You weren't invited to hang out or do things with them. And if you were a VP, you automatically got to be there. And for me, I really wanted to be part of that. And I did things that I would never normally do in order to try to get there. And I never got there. I never got there. Despite how hard I worked. But I spent a lot of my own money buying products and pushing my team to buy more products so that we could get the volume we needed to get there, instead of encouraging them to sell more to real customers, which we did do, but it was a lot more heavily influenced around buy more yourself. And I just think that is so wrong. And all of these things perpetuate the bad reputation that network marketing and MLMs have. And this industry has earned its stars. Like, this reputation it's for a reason. And that's why I speak up about this stuff, because I want to change it. Okay, let's talk about buying more than you need, because this was a big problem. I alluded to it a little bit in the last note here, but I also want to mention, this is just one example, but for me to hit the first rank, I was so many points away, and I was like, oh, well, I need to buy the makeup pack anyway, so I might as well just buy it now. And that would get me to that rank. And it did. And so there was kind of this vibe where, like, if you're pretty close, I know you'll make it happen. Like, they would say things like that. And I still say that sometimes, but more from a confidence perspective. We never, ever encourage somebody to buy a rank here, ever, ever. In fact, well, let me get to this. Let me go back to this in a second. Making phone calls on the last day of the month. I'm going to come back to that. Before I do, buying more than you need. I went to a conference, many of the conferences, and there was always like a pack of new products. And I remember specifically this person at the top making this declaration and saying, everyone needs to buy 3. One for yourself, one for sampling, and one for gifting or something ridiculous, or one for selling. I'm like, nobody is going to buy retail pricing. It's ridiculous. Nobody buys retail pricing. The whole pricing model is ridiculous. That's another conversation, but no one's going to buy this stuff. So basically, they just wanted you to purchase 3 so that the people at the top would get all the points and make lots of money that month. And, like a good little minion, that's what I did, because I always wanted to be sort of part of the club and like coachable and all of those things, like worthy, Okay, so now coming back to The other point, which was getting phone calls on the last day of the month. Now, this is pretty common too. And I will say I don't do this ever to my team. But I used to do this because it was normalized before. And now I realize it's not good behavior. Phoning up, making phone calls to your downline on the last day of the month or somewhere in and around there saying, okay, so-and-so is going for a big promotion. I just want to know how many orders you have coming. And then saying, well, we've divvied up the points and if everybody just did 1,000 or 500 or whatever it is, that would get us there. Can I count on you? I can't tell you the number of times I got a call like that. And the pressure was so immense. Like, it's not like something bad would happen if you didn't do it. But again, it was like this need to be accepted and worthy and whatever made me do these. Like, I would put orders in just to help this person. And I remember them saying things like, when it's your time, we'll do it for you too. So I was like, okay, it'll come back to me. Well, I never ended up getting there, so it never happened. But I just want to say, please don't do that. Don't call people in your downline and ask them to do something for you. This isn't about you. You need to make everybody on your team feel, first of all, valid, no matter what their goals are, worthy, no matter what their level of motivation is, and never put pressure on them, because it's not about you, it's about them. So if you're going to call them any day you like, but don't ask them what they're going to do for you. Ask them what you can do for them. Kind of sounds like a presidential speech, doesn't it? All right. The last thing I will say is blocking people. Let's just not do that. That's bad behavior. Let's just not shun or block people who make decisions that are good for them and want to go to a different company. Like, let's just not do that. Unless, of course, they are doing horrible things and breaking rules and being legitimately like not nice people. But like, let's just be adults and not do that. Can we just agree that this is sounding like a cult? Yeah, it kind of is. And I will say this one last thing before I go. And that is, I have not experienced this myself, but I do want to call this out as being something that is like, ooh, we probably don't want to go here. And maybe controversial, but I'm going to say it because it's how I feel. There's a lot of companies that have been doing this a long time, but some that are introducing this as more of a recent thing. And I just think it's a dangerous direction to go in. And that is like introducing religion into a business scenario. Religion is a very personal thing. It's a very individual thing. People believe in very different things. And when you introduce one type of religion into a business environment, like I heard that a company was doing like ceremonies and things at business events, that might feel really good for the people who can connect, but like for people who believe in something different or don't have a whole lot of religious affiliations, that's not a good idea. You're pushing those people away, right? It can make people feel very isolated and just not welcome. And I just don't think that kind of thing belongs in a business environment. That's just my opinion. Would love to hear yours. Okay, that is me, my story, my passion. I do want to end with this and say that, like, moving forward, I think you can expect to hear me talking about behaviors, the ones that are easy to fall into, like letting fear and all these emotions kind of drive our decision making, or the other side of it, which is like maybe the harder decision to make, the one that requires more personal development and like leadership skill sets, but the one that will actually get you the result that you want and make your team feel valued and make them respect you as a leader. So I'm going to be talking a lot about this kind of stuff on top of my regular topics, which are, of course, how to grow your network marketing business using attraction marketing and how to become magnetic and all of those amazing things. That is the thing that helped me to achieve an incredibly successful business here in my second company where I've been for 5 years, and I'm passionate about sharing those strategies. So I will continue to do that, but I'm going to add in a little bit more of this other side of the coin because I think it's really important that we continue this conversation and continue to work together to make this incredibly beautiful profession even better. So that's it for me today. Do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, hang out with me. I got videos coming weekly or so. And if we're friends on Facebook, love you lots, and I'll see you next time.